Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show out at the ranch. I want to walk you through some of the technical things that we've done here. How do you heat and cool a barn? And we're going to go through it today on the Build Show. Come join me. So how do you heat and cool a barn, right? And so that's really been one of the challenges here. Obviously we've got our siding, we've got our roof going on. You'll also see from the inside that you look up and it looks like a barn roof. What's really going on? Is there no insulation up there? We have this huge volume, this huge space that's 3 stories high. How do you move air through a space like that? How do you heat and cool a barn? I'm gonna show you all the details we put into it, so come on inside. All right, so before we go in, one of the things you might notice as we come out here for an update is we got a big silo now. And so this is gonna be the roof of the silo. And so what we're doing is we're pre-building everything here on the ground, framing it up, and then we're gonna crane it up there, and you'll see that it's a metal base under there, and then we'll weld it down to the plates that are at the top there. So other just notes of the siding that's gone on, we've got a wood roof called a Wallaby roof going up. That's why you see those furring strips that go across there. It's gonna allow the air to breathe underneath there. That'll be one of the technical things I'll show you. Come on inside. So we're now down in the basement, right? This is a walkout basement. Typically in historic barns, you'd actually see a number of different levels so they could, come into the barn at different spots on the house, kind of to, bring cows in and to put hay in and different working levels, right? And so that's what this walkout is meant to be. You'll see that, our 14, 18-foot concrete walls, you see the concrete beam there that were put up. We've got the hard insulation board that goes to the inside. Then we've got a 2x6 framed wall, which will insulate. You'd be very cozy down here, but you're looking up and you're seeing, these are temporary walls, okay? They're temporary because we've got weight, we've got, lifts and other things that we're moving upstairs. We did not want those trusses flexing, so we've got kind of a few temporary walls in here, but all of this goes away to make kind of for this huge, awesome space. On the other side over there is our, nerve center, right? That's where all the MEPs are, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. We've got a big tank in there. We're gonna have water softeners. We're gonna have all of that. It's gonna be a control area, right? We've got plywood on the walls of that room so that we can hang things on the walls. We've got the tankless water heaters, the Mitsubishi air conditioning systems, which has totally been engineered, right? And you'll see all this hard duct going everywhere. There's no soft duct, there's no flex duct. This is built to last 100 years. And so the challenge on this project is how do you heat and cool a barn? How do you make it comfortable? And it had to be engineered. We had to figure out how to move air through this space. And we'll talk about that more on the next floor. But let me show you that nerve center. Let me show you what that is so you can get a feel for how this is put together. I don't know if you remember on the outside of this thing we were talking about, we've got this 18-foot concrete wall that goes all the way around the outside of this thing. And remember, we have that steel beam going up that supports that wall right there that's stuck in right here that comes across to kind of hold that because we've got a lot of dirt that we need to retain. So basically what we did is we built this real tall wall. We had like an 8-foot moat going around the outside of it. We weatherproofed it and tarred it, okay? Then we put a dimple mat and then we put loose fill rock with a French drain going all the way around it. So there should be no water that gets in here, right? There should be a very dry space. We are in the, mechanical area. And so the other thing that you'll notice on the inside here is we've got the blue styrofoam. So, we talked with Steve Basic about this. Early on, he helped consult this project, how we were going to heat and cool this space. On the outside, we got the waterproofing and the loose fill and the dimple mats and everything. On the inside, we've insulated this whole space. So everything is that hard insulation on the outside. Then we come to our interior walls. Now let's go upstairs. Here we are in the barn space, right? That's 35 feet to the ridge. How do you heat and cool this space? We've got first floor bedrooms, second floor bedrooms, third floor bunk room, right? And so the heat is going to be much different up there than it is going to be down here, right? You might heat it and they're burning up in the bunk room, and down here you're cold, okay? So how do we move air through this house, and how do we heat and cool? So what we've done is, because we bought this historic barn, and this is an 1870s barn, and these timbers are so awesome. We want to show those off, but we also have to wrap this house, help us control energy. So we've built a 2x6 wall on the outside of our barn. So we've got the inside of our barn so you can look up and see this and remember where you are. But now for the comfort, we built this exterior wall. Now what that's going to do, it's going to help us convey thickness of walls. We've got zip board going on here, and so the zip board is held off, the siding's held off the zip board with strips. So we've done all the great stuff to make this last a long time, and this is our skin that's going to make this house comfortable. This is rock wool that we're using. I hate foam. I don't use foam. This is one thing. So that barn, that piece, right, is pretty easy. We got our 100-year windows because we want this to last 100 years. And then you go back into the log cabin section, right? And this was the discussion we were having. Well, how do you insulate a log cabin? How do you insulate these massive timbers? What we decided was that the mass of these timbers, which are 12, 14 inches wide, is enough of a thermal break, a thermal mass that, you know, we might have an R 10 or 12 wall here just because the size of those timbers are so big. So this is only a one-story section. It's a bathroom and a bedroom, so it isn't really compromising us too much, but this will then get stained, sealed, chinking put in place here. That actually starts tomorrow, but you know, back here, we didn't skin the outside of it because we wanted the look of this timber on the outside as well as the inside. So that really had to be left the way it is. Stopping on the way all the way to the top, wanted to show you kind of what we're doing here on the second floor. Got these timbers going out, right? We've got a false ceiling, right? So we basically taken what we're calling barnwood, is basically a tongue and groove material here, that so you can look up and feel like you're still in the barn space. Come in here and check this out. Look at all the timbers in this ceiling. This will be a very cozy, very cool bedroom. Like to get some naps in here would be pretty awesome. These timbers are very cozy. We've got a wood ceiling, and notice we've got zip on the inside of our walls, okay? And zip on the inside of that wall, right? So in any of these walls that we're framing out like that, this big box, okay, that's originally timber framed, the thing that kept it square and safe before was the boards on the outside that were shear strength, right? To keep it from wobbling and everything else. We don't have those boards, and so any place inside we are putting zip, and that's going to help control the stability of the building as we're putting together. It does create some problems building inside this barn space because we've got pipes that run down, and we're wanting to, you know, hide that as much as possible. So that's being hidden in here. This is going to obviously be a sink that comes in here. We've got a shower. We've got timbers in this bathroom, right? And then all the new framing will be covered up, but we're also trying to hide the MEPs, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, as much as possible so that we capture this, you know, historic barn feel. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing out here. If we go straight out here, we've got the steel roof. We've got again, the cedar on the roof that makes it look like this barn ceiling. But here on the back side of this house, we've got a very contemporary look, whereas on the front side, you've got a very traditional look. Because of this, right? Because of that incredible view looking out east. It's so beautiful, so peaceful out here. We've got a porch that walks around this outside here, where we've got this vertical grain cedar siding, okay? We've actually taken the vertical grain, we've actually treated it with fire retardant so that, you know, if there's sparks from a prairie fire or something around here, we don't get into trouble. But look what we've done. We've got these cedar furring strips that are holding the siding off the wall about 5/8 of an inch. That allows the air to get behind these cedar so that the paint will not peel off. If you've ever had paint peel off your wood siding, oftentimes it's because it's not able to breathe. These furring strips that you see right here are meant to allow it to breathe. So again, seeing some of the technical aspects of how we're putting this together really does make a difference. So this is the bunk room, right? We're at the very top. We're right at the ridge. You know, we're 30 feet above that ground level. In the winter, 30 degrees outside, they've got the heat on. It might be, you know, 100 degrees up here. How are we gonna move air? How are we gonna treat this? And so all that had to be figured out. We've also got exposed barn beams, right? And so it looks like, well, that's the original ceiling, and it is, right? That is exactly how it would have looked. But you can't insulate that, or we could put a rigid insulation on top, but then you get some funky details going on. So what we ended up doing, is I'll show you it over here, is we've got kind of two built up roofs in here, and we've got our lower roof, which is where the barnwood are. That's the barnwood right there, and it goes out through there, and it has the timbers and everything else you see. Then you see that there's a gap, and that gap shrinks from about, you know, 1 or 2 inches at the peak all the way down to about 4 inches down at the bottom, and it's basically creating a gap like this. And so in this next little joist, which is a 2x8, we've got our insulation in here. So here's our rock wool insulation, creating our, not only an air gap, but it's also creating a kind of a big blanket thrown over top of this thing, which is gonna help it feel comfortable and help it feel secure and, you know, something that you're gonna wanna hang out in. This is kind of the technical side of kind of how we're building it, getting it so that there's a, you know, historic roof. And you can kind of see right here, if we look over top there, that you can see the building paper and, you know, that kind of roof system, and then the other roof that's going to go over top. Here too, over these shed dormers, this then will be insulated, right? But we've got these great windows, awesome light, but looking up into this area, you can see how we've kind of double built the roof so that we get comfort along with beauty. So I wanted to show you one other kind of beauty thing. Now we're talking all technical on the inside, but there's still some fun things that we've been experimenting with. If you follow Richard on Finished Carpentry TV, you know that he did this little stair mock-up for us and did a whole video on it, but he's helping us put this together. And basically there's a slat type of balustrade, which is what this is. You got a balustrade going on here with little cutouts. It's kind of a folky, rural kind of way of treating a, you know, traditional stair. And so this is going on that stair that's going to go all the way up. We're going to have a different design on that in the silo because it's going to go down to the first floor from there. But I just wanted to show you, we're working through a number of the designs. You see these black lines on the floor that are going around. Basically, we did a full-scale mock-up of that silo roof. And so the silo roof has a one pitch, then it has a second pitch, okay? And so this is start of the second pitch, and what you see on these black lines are us kind of building it on the ground. So they've laid it all out in here. They will make these different parts and pieces so that they correspond with this. This is that second pitch where it starts, and then these pieces coming in here will all be timber. So kind of a cool way of building this all on the ground and then hoisting it up later. Okay guys, that's the barn project. I think it's really cool that on the front side looks very traditional. On the back side it's very contemporary with these steel cantilevered, you know, porches and everything that's going to go out. So it's really coming together. I hope you appreciated the technical side of this and all the work we're doing to make this comfortable, as well as kind of this retreat and this great space. Coming together, maybe halfway, maybe 60% of the way there. Backside windows will be going in soon. We'll start closing up the walls pretty soon. So a lot of fun stuff happening here. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Hull Millwork Hull Homes. Sign up for the newsletter. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.